y'all? It's your girl, Dr. Nina. And as you all know, at the end of 2020, your girl grew up just a little bit. She got engaged. Yes, I did. I feel so blessed, right? So I'm thankful that you all have been so supportive, sent your kind words, but I'm also so happy that many of you all have sent some of them real deal questions, asking me how I've gotten to a point of maturity, a point of where I feel that I was able to attract the right person in my life for marriage, and how I found my future husband. Not only that, how I've been able to really shine a mirror on myself to look at some of those mistakes, some of those things that needed to be cleaned up, because none of us are perfect. We all have flaws. But I feel like I've been willing to learn that even in my failed relationships, that I played a part, and at some point you got to grow up and say, look, I need to fix some things with myself. And not only that, watch who I'm putting myself in the company of. Because even if you do all the fixing on yourself and you still hanging around with dust, you become dust. There's a lot that many of us have to change and switch up. But I need to hear from you. What are some of the things that have put you in a better place emotionally, spiritually, physically, that have helped you to attract the right people into your life, even if that's not romantic relationships? But also let me know some of the things you've done that have not worked out. This is a big sister chat. This is a big sister, auntie, cousin chat, okay? So we talking down below. I need to hear from you. And all items and things that I discuss can be found down below in the description box, including a link to my Dr. Nina's mentorship membership. Look here, that membership actually holds a lot of the keys to how I've grown to become the woman that I have today. From everything that I've done, the ups, the downs, the weight loss, the physical changes, the emotional changes, the growth that I've had across my life. And I want to share that with you. So make sure you check that out, and I'll make sure you get 10% off your first 3 months in the membership. Now, let's go ahead and get into this video. If you're enjoying the content, I would love to hear from you. So make sure you click like, comment, share, and subscribe. And that's how our community grows and flourishes. And many of you all are telling me you're not getting your notifications. YouTube is tripping. So do your good sis a favor. Go ahead and subscribe. Click the like button. Also turn on those notifications so that you know whenever I upload. One of the biggest things that I think many of us fail to do is set boundaries. I wasn't doing it. I'm going to be honest. A lot of the relationships that I had that failed started off with me being just a little bit too extra okay with everything, right? It's wonderful to have an open mind and to think that people are great and most people will treat you well. And I'm just talking about different things. Like if you have certain things that you're interested in, clubs that you attend or are a part of, or a church that you go to, don't always be so willing to give those things up. You have to have a stance in life, and actually having that stance and having boundaries or clear lines where people can cross or they cannot helps people know how to treat you. And I had to really be honest about the treatment that I deserved and that I wanted from someone. And I had to be real with myself about that, because a lot of times I would let stuff slide. Sometimes I would be too busy to address certain things. If someone had a problem with this or that, I was always trying to morph and change into a better thing, in order for them to be more comfortable. But in that, I became uncomfortable. And that's not healthy. That's not healthy. And that's not all on the other person either. People are always going to push the limits of what you give them. If you don't give them boundaries, they're going to cross lines. They're going to be habitual line steppers. And you'll do it too. I did it to other people too, where I knew that they didn't have boundaries and I took advantage. So I've learned now that I have things that are direct do's and direct don'ts for me. And I make sure that I communicate those at the appropriate time when I'm getting to know someone, right? And I say appropriate because sometimes we think we got to come in with this wall of boundaries and tell people, you're not going to do this and you're not going to do that. We don't even give them a chance to see the type of person that they are. You don't always want to give people the blueprint on how to treat you. You want to see how they treat you too, and know if there's a direct connection with you all. So when I started to get boundaries, when I started to say, hey, this is what I do on Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays. This is how I work. This is how I groove. These are my friendships. This is how I treat my family. When people saw that, they knew how to come at me, and they knew how to come at me correctly. So I was showing again better than I could tell. And I was actually giving them examples of my life and how I deserved to be treated and reverenced by them. And this also includes the discussion of money. And I'm going to tell y'all something. I think as a woman of color, but also a black woman, we're not always taught to talk about money. I think you should always be talking about different things, finding out. Now, I don't think you have to sit down and have a whole full-on interview with somebody to find out where their money is. I'm not saying take from their pockets immediately and do all of that, but I think it's important to talk about the values, the core values they have around money. Are they saving? Do they have a bank account? Or are they interested in their credit score? I mean, these are things that are important to your future, and if you plan on marrying them, their stuff becomes a part of your stuff. So be very clear about what you want for your life, what you'll stand for, and what you want, even financially. Don't feel ashamed, and don't let nobody shame you out of it. Okay, this is your life. You gotta live it. And if you have a certain standard now, you don't want somebody coming in and taking that standard low. And I'm so happy that I got so much more comfortable with the uncomfortable conversations around that. The next thing is not being totally honest about my feelings. So I mentioned as being a black woman, and not only that, I think women of color suffer from this as well, different women. I think it's important to understand that our feelings are important. Our feelings are essential. Now, while feelings don't always have to be expressed and talked about, when there is a chance to talk about them and that time is right with a person that you care about, express those things. If something has happened that you didn't approve of, express that. People treat you the way you teach them to treat you. And a lot of times I think, especially in my upbringing and not also on purpose, I think sometimes we're taught to suppress our feelings, that we should be strong, that everything shouldn't matter. But look, I am a bougie chick. By blood, I don't know. I'm adopted, so I don't know where all the blood come from. But I'm gonna tell you what, if I want something a certain way, and if I can supply that for myself and someone refuses to treat me a certain way, and it's within reason, I don't need them in my life. So if I express that you not holding up your end of the bargain, or not being kind, or not being rational in a situation, and that's not respected, then that's not okay. It also falls on you first communicating that. I think a lot of times we're so worried about the response we'll get, we don't communicate that. But know that you're okay to communicate your feelings with respect. If something made you sad, say that. If something made you mad, say that. We're so scared of being coined angry that instead of sharing those things, we have angry outbursts and we have problems with ourselves because we haven't expressed ourselves. And I don't think in any way, shape, or form, even as a psychologist, even being Dr. Nina by day, I don't believe that it's always great to be spewing your feelings on everybody. But when the moment is there and when you do cherish someone, whether it be a family member or a romantic partner in your life, they deserve to know. And I had to learn how to do that properly. And it really took therapy. It took me being able to look in the mirror. It took me being able to talk to a therapist about my issues and talk about my previous life as a child and how I express feelings or the lack thereof, and being willing to see how I could do better with people in my life that I loved. And that's why I love that there's certain platforms and things out there that make it simple to be able to do that, like Cerebral, who's working with me and partnering with me to bring you all today's video. So y'all, in honor of National Mental Health Awareness Month, which as a psychologist I'm just stoked about, I love mentioning platforms like Cerebral. Cerebral is a mental health subscription that provides online, ongoing, comprehensive access to online care and medication management for anxiety, depression, and insomnia for one flat monthly rate. It takes a comprehensive approach to mental health care by providing clients with both therapeutic and medication management, which has been shown to have the best benefits longer term. They also operate from a telemedicine model, so you can schedule visits with your provider, care counselor, or therapist when it's most convenient for you. Therapy with Cerebral can cost 3 times less than traditional therapy services. Rather than $500 to see your psychiatrist and $100 for every therapy visit after, Cerebral offers a consistent flat monthly rate at a more affordable price. Some plan options and instant live visits are only available in some places and states. You start by filling out your simple online questionnaire. From there, you can choose to subscribe to one of the 3 available monthly options. And base your subscription on your needs and your budget. Subscription options may include a mixture of care counseling, therapy, and/or management of your medications. Plans include video or phone visits with your provider, prescribed medications delivered monthly with free shipping, and monthly therapy calls and unlimited online messaging with a care counselor or a licensed therapist. Connecting for me was very easy, and I found their approach very simple given that this is my career path. This is what I do. So I definitely was judging it based on my knowledge of various things and how people do this process. And it's definitely well worth it. The providers and the people that I corresponded with were kind. They made me feel comfortable. They also answered me quite quickly. If you'd like to take the next steps in working on your mental health, click the link in my description to start the questionnaire and get connected with the provider right away. Your first month starts at only $30. So there's no excuse. So y'all, the next thing was I had to stop being such a perfectionist with myself and also with my significant other. Let me tell y'all something. The world of social media, the world of all of these people out here telling you what you should need and what you should want in a romantic relationship can be great sometimes, but they can also be bad. They can make us much more hypercritical of people than we should be, from their looks to their style to their ability to communicate, from the job that they have, from the cars that they drive. All of those things can be hypercritical. We can end up falling into the trap of hearing everything but really learning nothing. And what I didn't want to continue to do was to be so hypercritical of myself and a perfectionist, thinking that everything about me had to be 100% on par. Let me tell you something. Love is such an in-depth thing. And not only love, but relationships take so much. And there's no perfection in relationships. I mean, there's arguments, there's ups and downs, but there's also the wonderful times, the correspondence, the communication, having a true companion. So in order to get there, it's perfectly imperfect. It's never going to be exactly how you want it. You're not going to roll out the red carpet for yourself or your loved one every day. Some days you're going to present just how you are. And the problem is we haven't learned that love and relationships, learn that. See what I'm saying? I'm not just talking about love, because love is the easy part, but relationships require so much nurturing. And in that nurturing, you're going to find out things about yourself and about someone else that might not be all that great. Families come along with this person. Life's trials and ups and downs come along with this person. Their friendships, their relationships before you. And not to say that you should ever be anybody's punching bags for their past, but we all come with them. And so working through that and being able to work together as two individuals is already pretty difficult. It's not going to be perfect. When I started realizing that, it was easier for me to make connections. It was easier for me to find, you know what? Hey, this really does fit in with my lifestyle. This is the type of person I want to be with, flaws and all. And not only that, I started to really love my own flaws, my goofiness, my silliness, my craziness, my funniness, whatever. I started to learn to accept that I was great how I was. And while I'm on the upward move for improvement, I can do that with someone. I don't have to be completely perfect. I don't need to be a train wreck in dating. See, that's another thing. We don't need to be dating if you're a train wreck. Take some time and go back to step 2. But what I'll say is we definitely need to give ourselves more credit. And in this world, it's easy to compare and fall victim to comparison and think that everyone has it perfect. But every relationship has its ups and downs. And that's why we end up finding so much in these celebrity relationships, heck, in these YouTube relationships and streets. We find out that what people were portraying was not perfect. It really wasn't behind the scenes. No relationship is. News flash. You're not perfect. So you can't expect that from anyone else. And when you start to realize that, it makes it easier for you to dig deeper and actually be loved and want to love imperfections even more. It's what makes it spicy. It's what makes it fun. It makes it unpredictable and so fun at times. And I just think we need to give more love to the imperfect. So y'all, the next thing that I had to stop doing was sacrificing every part of my life for the benefit of others. Now, I kind of mentioned this with building boundaries, but I think a lot of times what happens is we end up sacrificing who and what we are in order to make other people feel much better about themselves, even in romantic relationships. Look, the truth of the matter is a lot of y'all women that's out here doing it. Y'all are killing the game. You are wonderful. You are killing it. You doing wonderful at work. You're doing wonderful at home. You're doing wonderful with your families, and then you come into a relationship, and because you've heard femininity is this or femininity is that, you're actually putting your light under a bush. Now, I'm not saying that you should be outpowering everybody, and if you want a relationship, you shouldn't just be sitting up talking about yourself all the time. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying you shouldn't be trying to put your light under a bush. I had to learn that everything that I loved for a reason. Not just my career, but just even my quirky little hobbies, the things that I enjoy. I like painting from time to time. I love talking on the phone with my friends every now and again when I can. I love spending time with my mother. I love going to church. I love making sure that I read little books that make no sense. I love watching little shows on my little phone. Like, I like doing different things that maybe someone could call quirky or, pick on or make fun of. But those are essential parts of me. Those are things that keep me not only sane, but happy and fed. And they may be outside of the person that you love. And someone who loves you will still want you to stick to those very things because they know that's a part of what makes you who you are. That's a part of what makes you great. And that's a part of what makes you more attractive to them. I realized a lot of times that in some of my relationships, I was falling by the wayside in taking care of myself, even because I was criticized for how much I put into myself. But what I realized is sometimes that was a reflection of the other person. If they felt they couldn't afford that upkeep or upkeep of themselves, or didn't really place value in taking care or better care of themselves, that was a big red flag. Not because of them as a person, get what you want, do what you want, but if that's a part of me, that should be cherished and supported, right? So one thing that I had to learn was I didn't have to feel guilty about those things. I don't have to give up on what I love. I don't have to give up where I like to go and what I like to do. And I don't expect another person to do that. I love a good man, and I love my future husband has friends. He has things he loves. He has desires. He has goals. He has things he goes after minus me sometimes. He has things he likes to enjoy and do and watch. And that's what makes it fun. We have our own lives, but we have lives that are coming together. And so I think it's important for us to think carefully about the things we start to throw away in order to satisfy others, because some of that stuff can be quite toxic and negative. And the reason why you're doing it has no basis. You're doing it to please someone else and make someone else more comfortable when you could be causing your own detriment. So y'all, another thing that I had to do is stop finding myself avoiding confrontation, and on the other end of that, being willing to fight about anything. So what I mean is, a lot of times we've been taught that in perfect relationships, you don't fight, you don't argue, you don't fuss. That too is a lie. I'm gonna get my Maury Povich on. It's a lie. Good relationships, it's healthy to argue. It's healthy to have disagreements. It's healthy to discuss things that are uncomfortable. And when you avoid confrontation, you become a pushover. And sometimes you end up showing people that whatever they say is going to go, and whatever they do is going to go. And I'm not saying that you should just be fighting. That's a whole different thing. Fighting is a whole different thing. I'm not talking about screaming, hollering, and fussing, but I'm talking about just discussing things. Sometimes people are so afraid of confrontation because they think, again, it'll make them look angry. It'll make them look dissatisfied all the time. It makes them look less attractive. Now, while if you're fighting and causing a lot of grief about everything, that is unattractive. But expressing yourself in a dislike in a situation, or just going back and forth and having a little talk about something you like or agree with, or world issues or things like that, not all the time, but sometimes should be on the table in a relationship. You have to be willing and have the opportunity to do that, and not fighting all the time. So when I say about that is, I think another thing is, when I had gotten so tired of being a pushover for so long in my past, then it would start to come off as being intrigued to fight about everything, or wanting to fight about everything, because it was literally like a cage, a cage something. I won't say animal because I ain't no animal. I'm a mammal, but wanting to be let loose, right? And so because you become unclear on when it's proper to argue or when it's proper to have some confrontation, and you start to think that a person is always trying to undermine you, then that causes you to be angry too. So finding that perfect balance and really always approaching situations in a way that's respectful and approaching situations in a way that express how you may feel about something, or just talking about various different things and be willing to hear that a person doesn't agree with you, knowing that that could happen also leads you to understand people better too and respect their differences. But you can't avoid confrontation all your life to be more attractive. You'll become less attractive because you're going to end up falling over from a heart attack or some other health ailment because you've held everything in. So just learn that balance for yourself and be okay with the fact that you're not going to always agree with people. It's okay. Even your significant other, it's fine. So I hope you all have enjoyed today's video. I know it is just a little bit preliminary in terms of the things and the 5 mistakes that I feel I made in dating that now I don't really focus on so much anymore. I'm still improving. I'm still growing. I'm still doing more. I'm just like you. But at the same time, I feel like I've been willing to make those steps to become better through therapy, through surrounding myself with good people, through also looking at examples of great relationships. And I think those dating mistakes led me to becoming a greater and better person. And I'm not saying keep on bumping your head. You need to also make sure you're learning enough to move you forward and continue to do that until you get to the person that's the best for you. So y'all, I love you much. Your big sister, auntie, big sis, whatever you call me, is signing out. I love y'all much. Make sure you comment, share this video with someone who can use it, and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, y'all. Beautiful Brown Baby Doll. Peace. Just so you know, I did it. I finished the mentorship membership for you guys and it's now live. Check the links down below to learn more about it, but it is full of courses, expert information, webinars, masterclasses, and everything with yours truly. So I'm so excited about this. This is my project, my baby, and I would love to share it with you. So make sure you check it out and join today. Check the links in the description for my free new Dr. Nina's Mentorship Facebook group, which is a group of like-minded individuals looking to progress, grow, and support one another along the way. The Now That's Life podcast is about to go into season 2, so I suggest you go ahead and subscribe to the podcast on all your major podcasting platforms. All descriptions and links for that and my free supernatural video course are found below. Thanks so much for all the love and support over on my new website. If you haven't already, go ahead and check it out and join me for new ways to interact with me, giveaways and prizes, weekly emails, as well as my free 8-day supernatural video course, which is free when you sign up.